Okay. Hopefully my internet, we moved offices, so hopefully the internet we need to get a new extension, but hopefully it's okay.
Where are you?
In the back room upstairs.
I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, we moved it. So, and I just need to put some art behind me, and then it'll feel like my office. But I need to have something here.
Yes. I'm just going to lift up.
Okay. I might honestly just move my computer too. I might just go downstairs if the internet's slow.
There.
It says that we're live.
Yay.
Going live soon. Okay, here I'm on Facebook. Or I'm on Sarah. Sarah says hi on YouTube. Sarah. Okay.
Yeah.
She's our one viewer on YouTube. So I think I might go downstairs because I think the internet's going to be better.
Okay.
Let me connect. Oh, no, she can see us on Facebook. Can you see on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm looking on Facebook. There's a little bit of a delay, but that's...
Okay, there always is. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So just make sure that you mute our video on Facebook so that they don't hear it. Yeah. Okay.
I did that already.
All right, lovely. Hi, Sarah. Okay, we have a few viewers. We have 3. So let's get started, and then more people will join, as we go.
Yes.
So welcome, Annie.
Thank you.
Live.
I'm so excited to be here.
I know. So Annie and I have known each other for like a couple of years.
Like 3, actually, since we first met.
Yeah. So we just wanted to start by sharing just how we met each other, why we decided to do the live today, and then go from there. So Annie just recently was married last week.
Yes, you can see my shirt. I woke up married.
You are the queen. You in front of the king and queen of themed shirts. So so we met. Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah. So we met once at a networking event because we have mutual friends. And then because of that same mutual friend, we both got invited on a trip to Costa Rica. But we really didn't know each other because we didn't stay in contact at all. And I was going because I was checking out retreat places to host a retreat. And you were going through a friend who worked for the man who owned the house. Yep. And at that time, I had just quit my job and I was going full into my business. And I told my mom, I was like, going to Costa Rica with this guy and some people. And she was like, you're what? And then I ran into you and Zuri at that international
empowerment.
Yeah. And you came up to me and you said, are you Annie? And are you going to Costa Rica? And I was like, yeah, who are you? And then I was like, wait a minute, didn't we meet? So then we realized that we had met before and that we're both going on the same trip. And I said, Mom, come here, Whitney, come meet Whitney. She looks so normal. And she's going on this trip too. I promise it's not going to be dangerous.
Yes.
And then so we ended up going. And then you and I really connected. I think it was over our 5 a.m. morning routine and like meditation and journaling and Bible study.
Yes. Yes. All of those things.
And we were both at that time studying. You were studying for your CFP, which you just passed. Congratulations. 2 years you were studying for it. And I was studying for my personal trainer certification. So we spent most of our trip in Costa Rica at these big picnic tables studying. Yeah.
Looking outside but inside.
Yes. I could live my life that way forever.
Yes. So, okay. So Annie, the reason that I invited Annie was because, thank you, Sarah. She said, congrats on the CFP. So the reason that I invited Annie is because she focuses on health coaching and I really focus on people's money health, right? So there's a lot of synchronicity in what we do. And we both really realizing after conversations that we both really focus a lot on self-love, but in different areas of our lives, right? So I trying to get rid of shame when it has to do with your body or your money or whatever that is. So that's really what really makes us very similar. And then we'll talk more about habits and how to create sustainable habits in your life in these areas. But that's why I wanted to have her join me today. So, Annie, I told you this yesterday, but I wanted to ask you why you were an attorney. And I wanted to ask you why you decided to stop doing that and turn into a life/health coach.
Yeah. So I was an attorney for 8 years. All my life, I've been an A+ student. So I actually really wanted to be an ambassador, but for other reasons, I ended up going to law school. And then this is sort of the overarching story of my life, is being a people pleaser and being a perfectionist and a high overachiever. So I couldn't just go to law school. Of course, I also got a master's degree in applied economics at the same time. And my goal was to be an ambassador. And during the time I was in law school, I sort of fell into this river of law school high achievement, like doing what everyone else said was the goal, whatever the gold star was, getting the best grades, getting a job at a big firm, getting a prestigious federal clerkship. I did all those things sort of without regard to why I went to law school and what I really wanted to do. And so I came out of law school. I had a job in New York City working for a federal judge, which was an amazing experience because I got to live in New York City. But the work wasn't really for me. And I remember several steps of the way, I kind of felt like I was going into this career kicking and streaming. And whoever I talked to would tell me, just try it. You'll be good at it. Just try it. Because you're smart, you'll be good at it. Because you're hardworking, you'll be good at it. And I look back at it now, and there were so many times when my soul was screaming, like, I don't want to do this, but I did it. And people around me kept saying, like, just, do it. We're so proud you're a lawyer and stuff like that. So I worked for 2 years in New York, and then I came to Minneapolis, where I had a job waiting for me at the biggest firm in Minnesota. And I worked there for 4 years, and I was miserable. And I just kept looking around, and all my friends were miserable. And I thought, this is what adulting is. Like, you're 30 now. You've had a great life all through your 20s. It's time to just buckle down and do this. But I couldn't. I just was a little miserable. And for the first time in my life, I was not great at what I was doing because I hated it. I wanted to be outside.
It wasn't in alignment with your values. You were not,
Exactly. And so I started a nonprofit. That was my rowing program. I rowed in college, and is super passionate about the way that sport transforms lives and the benefits that it gives to kids and to high school girls especially. And so I started being really passionate about that. And then about the spring of 2016, there was a perfect storm of everything in my life being ripped out from underneath me. The firm told me that I wasn't partner material, and which was a huge ego hit because I was what? But the firm's financial structure is based off of people staying for 2 to 3 years and then getting out, whereas I would stay there for 4 years already. My best friend from law school, who had been one of my closest, dearest friends for the past 10 years, died really unexpectedly in a really tragic way. And that caused me to just re-examine everything. I remember sitting in my backyard of the house I lived in thinking, who chose this life? My friend's dead. My job is awful. I have this relationship that makes me miserable, 10 years in a pretty toxic relationship. And I was just it wasn't me. I didn't choose this. I don't want this. And I decided right then, I'm going to figure this out for her. Her name is Nico. And I know that she would want me to be wildly successful and really happy and super abundant and prosperous. And all my life I had this money mindset, which we're going to talk about, I'm sure, that either you could be a good person who works hard and does good things, or you could be rich. And the rich people are different, and I just there has to be another way. There has to be a way to be healthy and happy and prosperous. And I'm going to figure it out. And so I started just diving into it. I didn't have very many friends here. I broke up with my boyfriend. My best friend had died. I was like alone. So I was just digging into podcasts and books and coaching and stuff like that. And as I got more and more into it, I thought maybe this is actually what I'm here to do. Like maybe I'm here to figure out how to elevate every aspect of my life. And then I can teach other women to do the same, because so many professional women around me were similar to me. They had achieved all this external success.
Yeah.
They were miserable.
Yeah.
They didn't have time to exercise.
Unfulfilled. Yeah.
They're unfulfilled. They weren't prioritizing their own health and happiness. So I started taking steps towards what I'm doing now. But that was the breaking point that day in my backyard. And also at the same time, I had to have ankle surgery that I completely had to relearn how to walk. And then I lost my cat. So in like 4 months period, I lost my job, my best friend, my relationship, my ability to walk, and my cat. The cat came back after 8 months and I still have him. And then everything else just started like rebuilding.
What about
8 weeks? Sorry, 8 weeks, not 8 months.
Come on.
I know. My honey badger.
Yeah. Honey badger. I've had honey badger, so I'm just like, come on. So, so all of this to say, okay, so let's talk about fulfillment in your money and your health then, because I think that would be a good segue, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you tell me first, maybe I'll tell about my process and how I make sure that people are fulfilled in their money, and then you can share that about health. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of alignment in our process. And we are each other's clients too. So that's another thing. Because we decided, I'm working with Annie and her husband, Fred, and then I hired her because I'm a health nut, but creating habits and getting expertise in areas that I just don't have the time to research is so important. And we'll talk about leveraging expertise and time too today.
Yeah, but we definitely believe in each other's process and believe in investing in ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So when I initially meet with somebody, I do a values exercise with them. So, and for my clients that are viewing, they know that. So really understanding what's important to people and why. So, and I force them to identify what their top 5 values are at this moment in time in their life, which is hard to narrow down, right? Because there's so many values that many of us hold. But, the most common ones that I see are, let's just say, family, happiness, which to me, I think joy and contentment is really what that means. It's just having joy in all circumstances. That's how I view it. But whatever somebody's values are, I like to line that up against their money behavior and say, okay, so if your family is important to you, and flexibility is another one that a lot of people say is really important to them. If your family and flexibility are 2 of your top values, how is that being reflected? Are you saving for your children's college? Are you saving for your flexibility in your future, right? Because if you're not saving for your retirement, you will not have flexibility later on. And people don't realize that they're sabotaging their own plans by not taking any action at all. And so to be able to be fulfilled, we start with the values and say, what's important to you? What do you really want to achieve? But not just like what you said, Annie, you're just trying to achieve because that's just what you thought you should do. Understanding why these are your goals. Why do you want to retire at 60? Why do you want to stay with your job? Or do you want to, right? And if you change your job, what does that mean financially? And running all these different scenarios for people and really understanding deeply why they're doing what they're doing. And then when I make recommendations, they're going to be a lot more impactful because it's an alignment with their life goals. So, but starting with values is incredibly important. And that's where I believe your money is not really important unless it's achieving what is important to you. So.
Yes, 100%.
And then what about you? Tell us about just how people start working with you and what that looks like.
It's very similar. So I've gone back and forth between life coaching and health coaching. And I've settled in really a combination of life and health coaching because you really can't separate the two. If you only focus on one pillar of your life and the other ones are languishing, you're not going to be happy or fulfilled. So I focus on the core pillars of health, wealth, relationships, and impact. And then with the mindset sort of overall as the foundation. And I do a similar thing when I start with most clients is I have them do a vision exercise of writing out a vision for their life in the specific areas of health, wealth, impact, which I consider to be philanthropy, volunteering, what you do in the community, and then relationships. So they're very broad pillars, and you could, I've seen them broken up all different kind of ways. That's just what I've come to find like works best for me and my clients. If I'm specifically doing health coaching, then I just really focus on the health pillar, but I really like to have clients figure out that vision in all four because they're so related. And then once you have that vision, that's sort of your why and your values, and also the story of where you want to go, how you see your life. And sometimes that takes a couple iterations, because especially if people have never done this work before, they feel maybe ashamed of what's actually their deepest desire. Like that my deepest desire, like, is to look super sexy for my husband, right?
Or it could be, or even don't you get into deepest fear then, right? The shadow side of that desire. Right. Why is that their desire? Why is that? Right.
And I see that a lot in the money column, the wealth, and also the health, because as women, we're trained to be nice girls and to not talk about money, not talk about like flaunting sexuality and stuff like that. And so a lot of times, you know, working in a group, it's really empowering to share that vision and then have other women say, oh my gosh, me too. Or like, I wanted to put that, but I was embarrassed to even write it down. You know, and to encourage women and all my clients to dream bigger and to say, we're not worrying about how. We're not worried about how we're going to get there. We just want to have this.
This is the goal. This is the vision. Yeah, I love that. And that's another thing too, between you and me, Annie, is that we found that we had a lot of, like, our ideal client is very similar. It's like a high achieving woman. I mean, not that we won't work with men, but oftentimes I find that high achieving women neglect themselves and they take care of everybody else. And they're just on autopilot to the description of our event. It's just like, they're just letting life happen without really taking charge and taking control. And that's embarrassing sometimes to admit. Like, you don't really have control over your habits. You don't have control over your money or your health. And I don't think because they're so high power and so successful, it's hard for them to sit down and really self-reflect on that. And so I really love doing this. I know you do too, like a judgment-free zone. Like, this is where you're at, and that's okay. Like, there's no judgment about your money when you meet with me. And I know that's really different, because a lot of people say that their advisors talk down to them or that they talk over them. And I'm like, well, then they're not an advisor. They're just telling you to do something and they're not guiding you. Like, that's not okay.
I have clients too who are like, they say like, you're going to yell at me. I'm like, I am not going to yell at you.
No.
Do you know what I just ate last night? I like pizza too.
Right.
You know? I'm not going to yell at you, but I'm like lovingly guide you back to consistency in what you told me you wanted. So I start with that same vision statement. And then from there, I break it down into a goal. And depending on how I'm working with clients, I may have them set like from that vision, like what's a big goal, like a 1-year goal, or right now I'm really big on impossible goals for quarters. So because you can really achieve so much in 90 days, and by taking something that's impossible and just stating it as your goal, it brings it into the realm of possibility. And once it's possible.
You mentioned something yesterday that I thought about planning. Can you about how it releases endorphins? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said yesterday? Can you speak to that? I think it's very interesting.
A lot of people get stuck in the phase of planning because it's fun. You get, there's a couple of feel-good hormones that our body releases when we do certain things that helps us survive as a species. So they're dopamine, which is a little hit you get when you achieve something, like crossing something off the list or winning a medal or anything like that. Serotonin, which is like a feel-good one. Oxytocin is like a deep feeling of love when you're around your family, your deepest loved ones. And then endorphins, from exercise, which is actually a painkiller. It's literally a painkiller. And serotonin is more of like a pride, maybe like a student, teacher, coach, athlete, parent, child feeling that can go either way. But the dopamine hit is from like accomplishing something. So just by like writing down your plan or making a list, you feel like you've accomplished something. So you might get a little dopamine hit and be like, whew, all right, I signed up for that gym membership. I'm done.
Now what? But then it's like, now what?
Yeah. And so a lot of people get stuck in that planning phase because it does feel good. And they're like, I have a plan. But then they need to cross that barrier into like, okay, we're implementing the plan.
Yeah. I totally, because that's my steps with planning. It's first visualization, right? Visualize, strategize. So first you have what you want, but then you have to create a strategy in order to achieve it. So without a strategy, you can't achieve it because you don't have steps. It's the small steps that get you to your big final goal, and then implementation. So, and that is probably where our jobs and our businesses come in the most handy, I think, is that implementing that accountability, actually doing what we say is important to us, because it's like actions are louder than words. Really, like a plan is just words unless you're doing something with it. So that's a big part of my practice, and I know for yours too.
Yeah, and I would those same steps, I call them process goals, where we break down the big goal, which is the outcome goal, where ultimately don't actually have control over the success of the outcome goal. If that makes sense. Like maybe it's financial, but like the market crashes, or maybe it's health, but you get really sick or something like that. But the steps I call the process goals. Those are the ones you have complete control over. So your process, your outcome goal might be like, I want to lose 25 pounds this year. But your process goals are, I'm going to the gym 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 a.m. I'm drinking 100 ounces of water every day by making sure I fill up this water bottle 4 times, just breaking it down as small as possible. And then the implementation is really scheduling it. Like if you say you're going to the gym 4 days a week, well, okay, where are the 2-hour chunks on your calendar actually happening? How many times are you filling up that water bottle? And that's the hardest part, is taking it from like a dream in your head of like, I go to the gym every day. Oh, actually, it's not on my calendar.
Then it's not happening. So I always tell everybody that. I'm like, if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. So send me an invite if you want me there. Okay. Like otherwise it's a no. But and two, since we are live, and I know we have some viewers, if you do have any questions along the way, just let us know. And there's a little bit of a delay, but we will make sure to get to your questions. You can type them in. So why don't we talk about, I was going to share my calendar just as an example of what time blocking looks like, just so that people can see. So let me share my screen. Okay, so this is my calendar. So we've got, I'm going to make my screen bigger just so that way. So you can't see the writing, which is fine, because but what I do is I color code everything. So pink is personal. I've got all this pink because Zuri's in school online and I'm teaching her. So I have blocked off time for her school, so no one can book an appointment with me. The yellow is networking appointments or maybe referral partners. And then the blue is admin or prep work. And then the light blue is just a blocked off time. So, and then the orange is like an initial appointment. And then the green are follow-up appointments, and then purple are client reviews with existing clients. So I have all of this set aside. So that way, if I just take a look at my calendar, I can also see, I need more of this type of appointment, or I need more of this. But another thing is that I have all my workouts, as you can see, gym workout. All my workouts are in my calendar. And this is a little bit of a different week because my mom's going to be doing a week-long, my mom is my assistant, for those of you who don't know.
Yes.
So she is going to do a week-long ministry thing next week. So I needed to move my workouts, but that's okay because I'm still able to do them. I just needed to shift when they were. And so planning ahead is so important. But I have every day I have a daily prep and vision. So what is my day looking like? And that's sometimes where I'll do my own financial budgeting and such. I'll do it oftentimes at those times. So that's example of what it could look like. Everybody has different systems. I know, Annie, you have different systems too, but that's just an example of setting yourself up for success, making sure that it's all, set up for you. So there's nothing where something happens, you can just shift your calendar, and you're staying true to yourself.
Yeah, self-planning is so important. Do you want to see how I do mine?
Yeah, can you share your screen? You can share your screen.
Well, let me show something that's not, I'm a very like pen and paper type of person. And I have a lot of different things going on, especially up to 2 weeks ago when Elsa had the wedding. But my calendar looks very similar to yours. It's color coded. Okay. I have chunks of time for my workouts, personal time, walks, work time, which I block off differently if I have working with clients or working behind the scenes in my business, working on my nonprofit, and then wedding planning. But what I do, so those chunks of time where I have like a time block for this, I do a brain dump for the week. Can you see this? Yes. And then I'll do this literally every day. I do like a Monday hour 1, Tuesday hour 1, and it's like all the tasks that I need to do. And I do this like sort of spider web thing. I've been doing this for years. And then from this, I schedule it on my paper calendar with like the most important things. And then I get them all crossed. I don't get them all crossed off necessarily, but it's kind of a brain dump to see what I need to do. And then from here, the priorities and how much time I'm going to allocate to get them done. Because if you don't decide how much time you're allocating, you will take up all the time. And that's what I used to do, is just work all the time. And now I work, I don't work Fridays. I'm shifting to not working Mondays. I keep free from client meetings just to get organized for the week. Tuesday and Wednesday is when I mostly work with clients. Thursday, I do big projects, and Friday I take off. And it's amazing. It's amazing to have that time off, because all the time that you give yourself, I used to work Mondays. I switched being at the law firm, but I was working the same hours. And I was finding almost like, how could I coach my clients to like take time to relax, take time to take care of yourself, take time to play, when I wasn't doing that. And so now I'm doing that, and it's hard because I am a workhorse. Like grew up in the Midwest, like farmer parents, military parents, like I work, but now I just focus on how focused and productive can I be in these small blocks of time. And I'm actually much more productive.
You're more effective if you have those small time blocking. It's even when I was studying for the CFP, that was one of the recommendations, was 30 minutes, take a walk, 30 minutes, go get a snack, not just for hours to steam, because then you're not retaining your information, you're not remembering what you did. And that's true for not just your studying, that's for everything. It's for your work, it's for client planning, or whatever that is that you're focusing on. So I'm a huge fan.
That's on my calendar, if I could show it to you, but I just have to trust me. I have a lunch break for an hour every day, which I haven't had since I was clerking, and I would go work out during lunch, which was wonderful. But I really encourage my clients to do that too. And that can be hard, especially for women who, I work with a lot of lawyers, where you bill your time in 6-minute increments. So if you are not working, you're not, earning. But really, truly, you can be so much more productive, effective, focused, smart, creative when you're taking breaks, and when you're taking care of yourself, and when you're 100%. Well rested.
So speaking of which, so calendaring is what I'll call it, helps with creating systems for yourself, especially with workouts. You talked about time blocking for pretty much anything that's important to you, that you want to make a priority, right? So that's another thing too. So what my calendar for work looks like is that clients can go in and book a time with me. They just have access to the available times. So that's another reason why I block time on my calendar. But then after 5 o'clock, I have no availability. And so I have my calendar completely blocked, because in the evening I spend time with Zuri, and then Zuri is with her dad, which is just 2 weeknights a week. Then I'm spending time with me, and I'm not working. So I think that's really important, to create boundaries for yourself. And I think calendaring helps with creating boundaries as well. I'm going to talk a little bit just about automating your financial habits, and then maybe anything else that you want to add for yours. But so people always want to retire. This is like the big goal. I want to retire when I'm 50 or 55. They have these audacious goals, which is great. Or maybe they say 60 or 65, whatever it is. So first we need to determine what is your end amount of money that you need to live on for the rest of your life, because that's like 30 years that you need of income that you need to generate from your money that you've saved, or passive income from rental property, or whatever it looks like. So first we have to come up with the end amount that you need. Once you have the end amount that you need, then that's when you create an automatic monthly savings strategy, for example. So it's like if you have a 401k through work, you can just automatically have that happen. But then there are other things that you want to do besides just what you have through your employer. You would just a monthly automatic withdrawal. You don't even think about it. And that's why when they say pay yourself first, like that's literally what it means. Just have it come out before you even have the chance to spend it. And then you won't miss it. So that's a huge, very easy system to use for people, is just having it automatically come out. You don't think about it, whether it's for retirement or college or a home purchase or anything, but having a system of savings set up, because if you don't save, you can't achieve. So that's really, it's just automatic withdrawals, which people don't really like at first. They feel maybe out of control, but if they don't think about it, it helps a lot. So that's what I have people do.
I love that.
What about you? Is there anything else besides, you mentioned a few things already. You mentioned the breaks. Yes. And is there anything else that any other recommendations that you make?
Yeah. And it's with automating. So when I coach, a lot of times people think, I want to lose weight. So I'm going to exercise more and I'm going to cut out carbs. That's like how people, and there's so much misinformation out there from the fitness industry. I think it really preys on women's body insecurities and trying to sell like a get skinny quick thing, which is, I hate it. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I get super passionate about it because women are beautiful. Our bodies are beautiful. And I really aim to help my clients feel strong, energized, confident, so that they can live in their confidence body, no matter what size or what the numbers on the scale say, and that their health is automated, and then they can go on and crush whatever are their real goals in life. Because no one's health goals, some people are, but I don't generally train like figure competitors or professional athletes. I train professional women who have important careers, who run their own business, who are raising a family, and who are making an impact in the community. That's a lot of things. And in order to do that, you have to have energy, stamina, confidence, and to feel great in your skin. And so you also can't spend all Sunday meal prepping and spend 2 hours in the gym every day. It's just not going to work.
Right. Nope.
So the way that I coach, the order is nutrition, mindset, stress management, and fitness. Fitness is the last thing. It's not the most important thing. It is the tip of the pyramid.
Yep.
So the number one thing that people can do to set themselves up for success is to automate their eating. And once we get their macro balance right, the right number of protein, carbs, and fat, I encourage all my clients to have a super automated breakfast, lunch, snack that is high in protein, moderate carbs, moderate fat, pretty low in sugar. It's going to energize you. And it's something that you enjoy. It tastes good. It takes less than 10 minutes to prepare. It hits your macros.
I like that. Less than 10 minutes.
Those are the rules in my house. I don't coach anyone on anything that I don't do. So anything in my house has to be easy to make, hit my macros, taste good, and be quote unquote healthy.
Yeah.
And so once you find what that is for you, and I don't give anyone meal plans because I want people to be eating their favorite foods, but just with the tweaks so that they can figure out how to do it in a way that's sustainable. So for me, I have a protein shake boosted with Greek yogurt every morning. It has about 60 grams of protein. I have a delicious lunch that I suggest to all my clients, and most of them go for it. It's like egg whites with 1 egg, veggies, spinach, some kind of sausage or meat, and then 1 piece of avocado toast. Avocado is super good for you. It's high in fiber and good fat. And it's delicious. And I mix up the veggies or mix up the type of bread. So it's a little bit different. You know, I never get bored with it. And then afternoon, I have another like high protein shake that takes, 5 minutes to make. It tastes good. I change up the flavors so I don't get bored. And then for dinner, we have a rotation of probably like 10 different things that I think are like approved. Like I said, they're easy to make. They taste good. Everyone in our family. Taco Tuesday.
I already know that.
So I haven't started promoting it yet, but I've told all my one-on-one clients, I'm going to do a workshop of how to build a month's worth of macro-friendly meal ideas, like a schedule in 30 minutes or less. And it's going to be automating that breakfast, lunch, and snack. Yeah. And then have dinners in your column. So, every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. And maybe one week you have fajitas, but the next week you have fish tacos. You change it up, but you're like, okay, you're never standing in front of the refrigerator at 5 o'clock wondering what's for dinner.
I have 2 questions. Okay. The first one's from Sarah. She says, do you recommend, I already know the answer to this, but it's a good one. Do you recommend a certain kind of diet like paleo or keto?
Oh, great question. I don't recommend any diet that has a capital letter in the name. I teach macro-based nutrition, and what that means is you learn how much for your body is customized to everyone. And most of those diets don't work because they're restrictive. Yeah. They say just eliminate this food and you'll be fine. And that's not true. It's not the truth. If your goal is to lose weight, the only way to do it is to be in a calorie deficit, which means you're eating fewer calories than you're burning. If you have a goal that is changing your body composition, building muscle while losing body fat, you have to get your macros right, which means you're eating enough protein and a good amount of carbs and fat. And then on top of that, is like micronutrition, which is fiber, sugar, getting enough greens, getting all those micronutrients that comes from eating whole unprocessed food. So it's really pretty complex. And most of those diets are sold to people because they're made simple, and they're too simple. So I really encourage all of my clients and everyone I know to take that time to invest in learning what your body needs, because there's these core principles. I'm sure just like financial planning, there's like core principles, but then it's completely customized based on your body, your goals, your preferences, your lifestyle. And so I don't really subscribe to any diet that starts.
I knew you were going to say that. And then I have Pam here. She says, hi, Annie, do you work with women who struggle with eating disorders?
I do. I would talk to the women first, because depends on what the eating disorder and sort of like your history is. Some people have a disorder that came from tracking their macros like rock hard. And in that case, I would refer you to one of my colleagues who works on sort of like recovery from that. If it's a different type of, disordered eating history that comes from just restricting or, doing a diet where you have been eating like super low calorie. I love working with women like that, because my goal is to get you to be eating the most calories possible and still losing weight. And that's very precise. We'd have to do a reverse diet, which means starting kind of where you are and slowly building those calories back up to heal your hormones and heal your metabolism. So in short, I do sometimes, depending on the history of the women. Some might be a perfect fit. And if it's not a great fit, I'd love to, find a great fit. And I have some coaches that I really trust and admire their work, who I could make a referral to. Yeah, but you'll do, it sounds like an initial intake and then determine whether or not you would be a good fit, or if it would be better referred to somebody else. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. I suppose thinking of basic principles of financial planning, we've got cash flow. That's number one, the foundation, because it's your budget. If you don't have a budget, then you don't know how much you can save. Also, people think about retirement.
if you know what you're spending today, then that's what you're going to be spending in retirement. So then you plan backwards, right? So it's kind of like your new diet, like you add everything up in order to get to your end goal. So same thing with your budget and then your future budget. So yes, cash flow and liabilities and debt payoff could be a strategy for people, especially student loans tend to be a big one. So that's number one. Number two is protection and insurance planning. So that's like life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care, health insurance. So making sure that people are adequately protected and there's not a one size fits all, that's totally customized to what somebody needs. If they're a business owner, if they have to provide their own benefits, if they have to get their own insurance or not, right? Then we've got investment planning. This is like the sexy thing where you're planning for your future, and people think that they can outperform the market, which nobody can. So then they get excited and overconfident. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. So it's a lot of reality checking in that one. And just having a really smart portfolio for you according to your risk tolerance. So that's really important. Whether it is, so we identify your risk tolerance and your timeline. And then we plug and play and we build a portfolio that makes sense. And then the last really core principle are taxes and estate planning. Tax planning is really important as a business owner, but even if you're not a business owner, if you want to build tax-free assets, there are ways to do that, and you don't need to be a business owner to take advantage of some of those strategies. But when you are a business owner, you've got a lot more tax strategies that you can use that someone who's not a business owner just wouldn't be able to take advantage of. So I spend a lot of time on tax strategy with people. And then lastly, there's estate planning, and that one, it depends on if it's a higher or lower net worth client. The higher your net worth, the more complex it gets, and then we partner with an attorney. But I do a lot of partnering with other professionals. I partner with accountants, I partner with attorneys, partner with bookkeepers, whatever it is that somebody has. I do a lot of partnerships and collaborating with clients and their professionals in order to make sure that it's a holistic plan. So those are the core principles for financial planning.
I love it. It's so much fun.
Indeed. Oh yeah, of course you think that. I like to make it fun. It's just, I want to change really want to change the perception of financial planning. That's important to me because I think people just are scared of it. They think they need a lot of money, which we can talk about. Maybe that would be a good thing to address here is, do you need a lot of money in order to do these things, to hire a trainer or to hire a coach or to hire a planner? So maybe let's talk about that now. I'll kind of start. We talked about this. For my practice, there are 3 levels that people can, there's 2D, 3D, and 4D planning. So entry level planning, I mean, you need to have some income or some assets in order to work with me. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good resource. But if you have some income or some assets, then there are entry-level financial planning just to establish basic principles of budgeting, debt payoff, and basic insurance planning. So there are levels to this, right? And so my goal is, if someone really wants to improve their financial situation, is to meet people where they're at and then charge them accordingly to what their needs and what they're able to pay. So no, you don't need to be a millionaire to work with a financial planner. It's all about scaling up your financial life. And that's really how I view it.
I think it's also about believing that you are worth investing in.
That's very true.
Because hiring a trainer, it costs money. I don't like the words healthy, unhealthy, good, bad. I don't like the words expensive or not expensive because it's a subjective statement based on your priorities and your budget. But I will say that working with me is an investment that will be the best investment of your life because so many women are in pain. They don't feel comfortable in their body. They don't feel comfortable in their genes. Like I said, I don't work with a lot of women who want to train to be like figure competitors. They just want to feel good in their body. They want to feel sexy, even though they might be ashamed to say it, but I'll say it. They want to have the energy to play with their kids. They don't want to be the tired mom. They want to be the fun mom. Yeah. And they're usually quite frustrated by the time they get to me because they've tried everything. And so I would just question, how much have you spent on Weight Watchers or Orange Theory or keto books or paleo this or that? Or I have women tell me all the diets they've done, and it's like a long list of stuff. And some of that stuff might be free, and it might be something you see someone online doing. It might be something you're paying for, but you're throwing away your time and your money. And
getting misinformation.
And getting misinformation, and quite frankly, really messing up your metabolism. So a lot of people come to me, and we have to do a lot of repair work to get your metabolism and your hormones functioning at a baseline level. And then we can go into cutting weight. But first we have to get your hormones back. We have to get you sleeping. We have to get, build up your metabolism. And my goal is to have my clients work with me, and then you can graduate to an alumni program to keep working with just accountability. But you have all the tools in your back pocket so that you will never need to feel like you need to go on a diet again. You'll never go on a fad diet. You'll never feel like you need to cut out donuts in order to hit your health goals. So I would say it's an investment that's worth it. And once you start investing in yourself, like with financial planning, with a health coach, maybe a mindset coach or other coach, especially if you're a business owner, you're just going to keep up leveling your life. And that money that you're putting out there, it's going to come back to you in money and in energy and in all kinds of abundance. That's the way that energy and money works.
Yeah, totally. And I think too, it's like one of the big things that I tell people about is my job is to help you be a good steward over your money. So it's not about how much money you make. It's about what you do with your money after you've earned it, and where do you save it, and what do you do with it once you have it. That's what it's about. So because some of the people who build on, themselves an empire when they retire is because they didn't earn a ton of money when they were working. They saved a lot. So it's really about, once you have that, how are you treating it? How are you treating the money that there's Linda?
Hey, Linda. See your mom back there.
But yeah, so it's all about how do you treat what you have? How do you steward over it? And the same thing with your health. How do you steward over that? How do you treat yourself? How do you love yourself? Because it's like, if you're going to save money instead of spend it immediately, and if you're going to set this money aside for a big purchase in the future, you're going to be so fulfilled and so joyful because you had, and then there's that word that people don't really like, is self-discipline, which is not, that's not very popular in our culture, because we're so just do what you want. But no, we need structure, because structure is freedom. And I think
free. Yeah.
And we also are like both really big fans of structure and organization, like inherently. So we might be a little biased.
But it really does set you free.
It does.
You have, you have the ability to play and to do what you want, and have the energy and have the money and have the time.
Yes.
You had the foresight and the discipline.
Yeah.
Shoot, there was one thing you were just talking about. Oh, that was going to say, same thing with, taking care of your health. Some people say to me like, oh, it's always when I have time, right? When I have time after the holidays, after whatever. But, because
will never come.
Right. And especially if you're, a high achieving professional woman, that time will never come. And one thing I really carefully work with my clients on is like, okay, like tell me your schedule and let's figure out what is your top priority, and it may be just shifting how much protein you're eating and taking 5 minutes in the afternoon to take some deep breaths and meditate. That's all you got time for. That's all you got time for. I was working with one of my clients, and she kept, she's been doing amazing. She's been having her favorite foods, but, losing weight, like right on track with her goals. And she has 3 little kids and runs her own business. And she kept saying to me, I don't have time to work out. And a lot of people will say that. And you think, okay, that's, BS. You have time for what you make time for. But she shared her calendar with me, and she's also time blocking. And I said, you know what? We don't need to work out. Let's instead of having the expectation here and the reality here, and this gap, I don't know if anyone's going to be listening to this on the podcast, but this gap between where the expectation and the reality is, it's just stress. So let's bring the expectation to the reality. We just adjust your macros and try to walk more and try to play with your kiddos. Like she has time blocked on her schedule to play with her 5-year-old son. Go to the park, get some steps in, get some fresh air. That's all you, if that's what you have, that's your priority, we'll work around it so that it works for you and you're still hitting your goals.
I love that. And that's interesting. I know that's because you're having me do that journal right now of stress every day. And I think I had mentioned this to you as like, I don't even think about my stress. It's just like so a part of my life.
Right.
That I just accept, and I do deal well. My personality type is very good with stress. I just, it's cool, whatever, moving on. Yeah. Maybe not even really self-acknowledging, I think.
Right. Or even just taking pride in the fact that you're like a firefighter, right? You can pivot, you can do it. Yes. But okay, we're not as humans designed to live under chronic stress. And
yes, you're right. It catches up with you. That's so true. So I love that. That's so funny. So I don't know if there are any more questions. We had those few that came in, which were great. I mentioned that Sarah asked, I don't know if it was before or after, about the calendar system. We talked about that. We talked about the kind of diet. We talked about really values and planning and values in your health and life planning. I think that's about it. I mean, that's most of what I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah. Well, I would just say with the calendaring, which used to be like, I hate that word, but I mean, I think there's, scheduling and putting it on your calendar.
Yeah.
The same thing with figuring out how you want to play with your money, how you want to steward your money, how, what eating works best for you. Figuring out your schedule is something that is worth investing in as well.
That's so true.
Because not everyone is an early bird. Not everyone is going to be a member of the 5 a.m. club. Not everyone. Like I know for you, Whitney, we put your workouts, we schedule them at lunchtime because your mom's there to watch Zuri while you go and do that. Like, that's what works for you. And now it's on your calendar. And, previously I know you were an early workout person. I know you're an early bird, but it just doesn't work for your life. And I'm sort of the opposite. I have clients now that I'm not in the gym and doing my own thing. My earliest clients are 7, not 5:30, which is really nice. And for a while, I would kind of sleep in until about 6:15, train my clients, and then go to the gym in the middle of the day. And I was realizing it wasn't working for me, even though I had that freedom. So now I get up at 5, get a super efficient workout. I'm done at the gym by 6:30. I'm home to train my clients. And then I have a big block of time during the day. And so it really takes sort of trial and error to be like, okay, this is like, maybe commit to something for a week or 2 weeks so you can really get a feel for it.
Works.
And then evaluate it and say, like, does that work best for me? Could it be better? How can I make a shift? So maybe that workout is an hour earlier or an hour later so that it gets better. And so don't be afraid to play around with it, like commit, and then just play and then commit again.
Yeah. And I think too, what I do is like, I have a workout on my schedule every single day. And the reason I do that is because I know I'm not going to work out 7 days a week. But then if something happened, like I slept in because my blood sugar was low or whatever it is, something happened, Zuri needed more help with school. That way if I miss a workout one day, it's okay. So then I give myself that margin for error by blocking off the time in my calendar. So that's been a really good strategy. And it's really allowed me to give myself grace. Like it's in my calendar 7 days a week, but I know that I'm not working out every single day. So having that built-in room for error, I think has been really helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a great strategy.
Yeah, because I know I don't work out 7 days a week, and that's cool. No. That's okay. I don't need to. I don't know. I don't want to. No. But it's in my calendar. So we have about 5 minutes to 1, so I'm just going to cut a little early, but I appreciate you and your time.
Thanks so much for inviting me on. This was really fun.
Absolutely.
And we have these conversations all the time. It's just, I think, why we're such good friends. But it's fun to, to share it. And hopefully this was helpful to people who are watching.
Absolutely. And then if you came in late, you're going to be able to go back and you can view the video if you want to watch the whole thing, if any of you weren't on the whole time. And then Annie, I know you'll be able to distribute it to your clients after the fact as well.
Yeah, I'll share it as well.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. We love you.
All right. Bye. Bye, Whitney. Love you.
Bye.